Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 200 of the Masterclass Podcast. My name is Cam, and as always, I am joined by the one and only Dave Hogue. What's up, man?
Yeah, we also have some other guests with us today.
We do have some special guests with us today because it is our 200th that's still, I don't know how that happened, 200 episodes. Dave, who you got with you today?
I have my son-in-law, Shay, with me, and I think very highly of him. He is going to tell us more about himself and what he does with his time. Yeah, they've been married for about 2 years now, a little over 2 years, and glad to have him in the family and appreciate the fact that he's willing to do things like this with his father-in-law. So
yeah, well, it's pretty cool to have a father-in-law that does a podcast. So that's cool.
Welcome to the show, Shay.
Thank you.
Happy you're here, man. And I have a special guest with me as well. Ken Tuick, lead pastor at Life Compass Church. How are you, sir?
I'm excited. I'm a rookie here. First podcast ever, and to be joining you two guys who are clearly veterans in the Hall of Fame of podcasting, over 7 years going at it, 200 episodes. Thank you so much. What an honor and a privilege.
Oh, great to have you here. I'm glad we finally got you on the show. It's only been taking 3 years.
There you go.
We got it done. All right, gentlemen, this is it. Episode 200. Very exciting. Dave, you want to take the reins and chat with Shay for a bit?
Sure. So Shay has a ministry that is called Love Haiti. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is spelled L-Q-V-E, Haiti, and sometimes that's what people call it, particularly his mother-in-law, my wife. We're trying to break her of that and get her to love Haiti, but
It's everyone.
it is.
It's everyone. Yeah.
So anyway, so Shay, I asked you to give us kind of like what Cam said beforehand. What I like to refer to is your elevator speech. You got 30 seconds with somebody in an elevator. You've got your Love Haiti hat on, and they go, "Hey, what's Love Haiti?"
Yeah.
So what would you tell them?
Well, first, I pushed the red button on the elevator so that there's a little more time to talk about this. But no, in a normal instance on the elevator, I would just mention that it's a nonprofit organization that my family and I started a couple years back, and kind of the thing that differentiates it a little bit maybe from other humanitarian groups is that we truly try to partner with Haitian communities and with Haitian leaders and help them realize their own dreams for development in their community, as opposed to, some American form of development that we want to impose on Haitians. So we're specifically in Southeast Haiti, and yep.
So why Haiti? Why did you go?
Yeah, so the Haiti origin story, and also with the LQVE piece with the Q. So my sister visited Haiti for the first time back in 2012, and she came home. This is my older sister, Quincy. She came home and then was just talking to her family about Haiti. She fell in love with the place. She tried to go back once, but got snowed in on the route to Haiti. And then unfortunately in 2015, she passed away. So kind of, in a sense, this first trip in 2015 to honor her life a little bit, we as a family went to Haiti and went to the same community she went to, met a lot of the same people that she met. And then honestly, from that one trip, it just kind of exploded into this, huge relationship where we have made all these Haitian friends, and we wanted to partner with them and help them through life. And so fast forward now 7 years, and here we are doing what we do. And so, yeah, the LQVE, the Q, that was because my sister's name was Quincy. And so we plugged the Q into the word love there. And then in more recent years, for professionalism's sake, we've just kind of started pronouncing it Love Haiti, because it was confusing for people to go LaQuiv or spell out the whole name. So yeah, we're Love Haiti, currently spelled LQVE Haiti, but that's a little bit of our origin story about how we got connected to Haiti.
Cool. So I know one of the things that you did recently was kind of put together a snapshot of some of the things that you accomplished in 2021. Could you share kind of an overview of what the highlights were in 2021?
Yeah. So the highlights, it's always easier to talk about the quantitative things, which is unfortunate because, in my opinion, the qualitative stories are the things that really matter and the really great pieces, but it's easier to get across information through the numbers. So yeah, last year, we kind of say our little motto is that we help Haitians through education, healthcare, recreation, and wealth creation. So kind of using that as our model. Last year, we saw a couple thousand, and when I say we, I'm actually talking about our Haitian family who really runs the show down in Haiti. We saw over 2,000 patients. We helped over 4,000 people get access to running water for the first time. We kept a elementary school from closing. A couple hundred microloans were given out to community entrepreneurs and families. And overall, in our 7 years of existing, it was our biggest in terms of impact, our biggest year yet, which is great. Part of that kind of sucks because part of the year was part of the reason we had a big impact was because there was a presidential assassination and an earthquake and a tropical storm and a migration crisis. So people gave to us, because we were responding to all of these things. But yeah, that's a little bit of a snapshot of what we did last year. And again, our focus always is that we are helping Haitians develop Haiti and develop and help other Haitians develop their own communities. So all of those stats, none of that would exist with just me. I'm just kind of the guy in the U.S. that does some of the coordinating. So it's all Haitian.
Very cool. So one of the things that I will ask Keem to do that I'm sure you're good with is we'll put a link in the show notes to where people can give to Love Haiti. And if somebody is so inclined, I'm sure you guys would be very appreciative.
Oh, we'd be very appreciative, yeah.
Anybody could do there.
Mm-hmm.
And just real quick, how would you, if people are wanting to pray for your ministry in Haiti, what would you recommend, or maybe even just request of them in terms of prayers?
Yeah, I think it's pretty general right now. The political and security situation in Haiti has been very bad for the last 2 years. And even though we're still doing what we do and we're able to partner with communities, it does make it a lot harder. And not only that, but it's just kind of a whole country that's seems like on the brink of just going crazy because of how much instability there is in the government. So above all, I would encourage people to just pray for Haitian leadership, like from the top down, from the top prime minister position in the government to the locals that we interact with, praying for Haitian agency and leadership, I think, is the most important thing right now for anyone involved with Haiti.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Cam. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I knew like 1/10 of all of that. So this was very illuminating for me as well. All I knew was like, Shay does some cool stuff in Haiti. That's what I knew. So this was pretty eye-opening to hear, one, the longevity of it, but also the impact that you guys are having. So thanks so much for sharing that with us. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
Ken, let's talk Life Compass, my
Absolutely.
man. So, man, where to start? I guess, okay, so we're a church.
Absolutely.
But I think there are a few things that make Life Compass quirky in a good way. So maybe could you maybe share a bit about how our church emphasizes arts and music and community outreach and sort of how that actually wound up leading into the church
Yeah,
itself?
so quirky, eclectic group of people, and that usually represents artists, even though I'm not an artist at all. But I've preached a sermon that literally said that we are all artists in one way, shape, or form, if that's playing an instrument or drawing or just a creativity that we get from God, our Father. Been doing ministry for over 30 plus years here in this community in the city of Kankakee. Left for a couple of years and went to Greece and served as a missionary over there with my wife and I, and we had 2 young children at the time, and we have 4 at this point. When we came back from Greece, we desired to continue doing ministry in this community in the city of Kankakee. Did not want to duplicate all the other outreach programs that were happening. and outside of the church. And we through a lot of prayer and a lot of studying and research, we came up with there's a lack of art and music in many inner cities, including the city that we were in at that point. And so we just started in the basement of our home, an art class with 8 students. And from that point, we moved on to using a basement of another church. And at one point, we had over 12, 13 different vehicles of ways of reaching kids through different instruments and art forms, from violin to drums, piano, guitar. Cooking classes, we went to robotics, we did dance, we did drama. We've continued to do some of those, and some of those other things we've stopped doing. But from 2008 to 2013, we were just a non-for-profit doing church or doing ministry in the community. And the Lord led on my heart that the only way to really impact not just the students that we're working with, but also their families was the local church. And so in 2013, the art and the music program birthed the church. And
which is pretty backwards.
It was way, so yeah, the outreach, instead of the church doing the outreach led into forming of the church. And that has been literally the most emphasized thing that we do here. You walk into our building, it clearly looks much most churches. Again, even the room that we're in here right now is a studio for people to hopefully someday write, record, and produce their own music here. We've got rooms that have art painted all over the floors and the walls. Every single one of the rooms in our building have art pictures of students that they've drawn in, or music hanging on different rooms. And so, yeah, you will know right away that it's not your typical church.
So that was 2013 when the church started.
Yeah, so we are actually, as you guys celebrate 200
episodes.
Wow, we've been around a while, and we look this good. That's amazing. But as you celebrate 7 years of doing this, we're actually this month, March, we start our 9th year of the church actually being founded and planted from the Music and Arts program.
What's been, I know there's been a lot of ups and downs, but what has been the greatest joy of watching the church go through all of the ups and downs from, inception to where we're at now?
The greatest joy. Great question. I think some of it is the maturity in those folks who started with us as in 2013 and where they are at today. The maturity, the spiritual maturity that has come along with that, the impact that it has had to our community, because we always want to look outward focused, and that we are recognized and known for what we do in this community with the music and the arts, and that we're authentic about that. I think that's the greatest joy. Question is always asked, if your church shuts down today, would it impact your community? And I think our community would be impacted if we close our doors today.
Negatively impacted, not
absolutely
positively.
Right.
Cool. Well, Dave, should we tell them about our surprise? Okay. Can I get a drum roll, please? No? Okay, great. So, all right. So here's the deal. We've been doing this for a while, Dave and I, and we have accrued some small monies over the 7 years, and we thought it's the 200th episode. Why not give $200 to two of our favorite people in ministries? So, Shay, we're going to give $200 donation to Love Haiti, and we're going to give $200 to Life Compass as well.
Oh, wow. What a blessing.
As a way to just celebrate that two dudes talking to microphones, and people have given us money for reasons we're totally
that's awesome.
We don't know why. So we thought we would take that, and I know it's not earth-shattering money, but it's something that we wanted to do to encourage you guys.
Wow, thank you. What a blessing.
So are you guys giving $200 to 200 people, or
well, no?
$200?
When I said small amounts of money, I wasn't kidding. Yes.
200 to 2 people.
So we will get that to the right people. But we just wanted to say thanks for being on the show with us. Thanks for doing what you do. And for, Ken for being a good friend and a good leader. And then I assume Shay's a good son-in-law because he's on the show. So,
Yes.
but great. So,
And you know what? I don't make this lightly. It is an honor because you guys have journeyed 7 years together to do this. And a lot of people, after just a couple of episodes, saying, you know what, it's just not going to work out. And you guys have figured it out in spite of how life has sometimes changed over these years, and that you guys are still doing it. That says a lot about you guys, and honored to be able to celebrate this day. And I would say Shay probably feels the same way as well.
I definitely echo the entire sentiment there, for sure.
well, you guys are very kind. Shall we, let's change subject real quick. It's Lent right now. Easter is, 6 weeks away now ish. And we thought this is a unique time of the year where we are contemplating what Easter means and why Jesus went to the cross in the first place, and namely, right, our sin. And so I guess I just wanted to open up just a quick conversation on, what your experience with Lent has been, what, you do or don't know about it. And we'll start there, and then we'll work our way towards talking about Easter. So, Dave, what do you think about Lent, my guy?
So, I guess being from an evangelical background, have not been in churches where even observing the church calendar has been a common practice, and was actually because of COVID and other things, Melissa and I found ourselves looking for a new church. And as we have done that search, one of the things was we wanted that. We wanted the liturgy, and we wanted the observance of the calendar. And so we think we found a church here in Olathe, Redemption Church. We've got some history with it, 20-some years ago. But one of the things that we just did was attended an Ash Wednesday service last week ago, and having been in full-time ministry, having worked for several churches, I think this is correct, but it was the first time I experienced an actual Ash Wednesday service, and they did ashes on the forehead, and we spent some time contemplating our mortality, and that we come from ashes, and to ashes will return. And so I think my story is somewhat common right now, that you're seeing people who maybe grew up in the church, in the evangelical church, that didn't practice liturgy and the church calendar, kind of seeking that out and looking for church to feel like church. And so I'll stop there. I can keep talking, but that's where I'm at. Is I feel like I'm exploring this and just kind of becoming aware of a lot of things that maybe I knew, but didn't embrace, didn't really understand. Even kind of had that Heisman arm length of that's Catholicism mentality.
Yeah, and you know what? I would say you're speaking my language at this point. Again, pastoring a church going on 9 years now, but also been a part of a Protestant faith my whole life. I grew up around a Catholic community growing up in school, and always just knew that it was Ash Wednesday because everybody had something black spotted on the forehead. But even before it knew it was Lent, it was always Ash Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And I always knew it was somewhere a month and a half, 2 months before Easter taking place. And this is the first year as a church that we have actually recognized this Lent season and actually put some stuff into place for our whole community that considers Life Compass their church home, and engaged in these 40 plus Sundays, 47 days leading up to Easter. So I would concur that what you just said, that I think many Protestant churches for the very first time are going back to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing is we're doing a reading plan. Everyone in the churches have been invited to do a reading plan on their, the YouVersion app. It's a full Lent deal. We're asking people to pray specifically for another pastor at the church and his family who are on an R1 visa from Mexico, and we're really, 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 really wanting them to get their green card so they can stay and not have to go home. It's been a years-long process.
5 years.
5 years of them being here and not knowing, and so we're all in on trying to be in God's word every day, fasting or sacrificing something to encourage us to reflect on what Christ gave up, but also to use that time to redeem that time to spend it in prayer or worship or study or fellowship. And so that's been really encouraging to me, because I would show up at school on a Wednesday and all these kids I didn't know were Catholic would just have the stuff on their head. And it's like, oh, that's surprising.
And the other one was fish on Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the thing for me, especially this year, the season of Lent is to me, it's become real, I think, for the first time in my life. Always before, it was oh, I'll just give up pop, and then 3 days later I'm drinking a Mountain Dew and not even realizing it, oh darn, I guess I'll wait till next year. But there's the gravity of it and what it is leading towards, and just the daily reminder to reflect on my sin and how Jesus had to die because of my sin. And then you amplify that by the billions of people that have ever walked the earth. And to think that a perfect person, God and man, died in my place because of the decisions that I make. There's a certain gravity to that is this year landing in a very different way for me than in previous years. And so I think it's a good thing, I think, for me, to really just have this extended period of time where I know every day I'm going to be reminded of my sin. And that sounds super sad, and it is, because sin sucks and it had terrible repercussions, but this leads somewhere, right? This leads to Easter, which is the most joyous celebratory day that we get every year. And I've told Ken's heard me say this a bunch: Christmas is overrated compared to Easter. Christmas doesn't matter unless Easter happens. And so while there is that somber attitude of acknowledging my sin and mourning my sin and wanting to kill my sin and joining in the Holy Spirit in the process of building the spiritual fruit, there is also this light at the end of that tunnel of Easter is coming. Easter is coming. And then we get to, with all of the self-reflection of Lent, get to just rejoice in the Easter celebration. So I'm excited. And also mad at myself, but mostly excited. I'm also reading a good book. It's called Journey to the Cross. It's a 40-day Lenten devotional by Paul David Tripp. I'll put it in the show notes for anyone that's interested, along with the Bible reading plan too, because it's never too late to start. Show notes is where all the goodies are at.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific, anecdotally for myself to really speak on Lent, but kind of taking a more bird's eye view, which I think is what all three of you have touched on to some degree. But, you know, like looking back to, I don't know if it was the like the Second Vatican Council when the Catholic Church, you know, labeled Protestants as actual Christians or something like that. But just like seeing this recent history with Christianity and how more and more you see people starting to reach across these like boundaries of denominations or like historical practice. I think it's a really exciting thing. Like it seems like the antagonizing is going away more, and kind of a more comprehensive wholeness, like holistic acceptance is coming from like, hey, like there's some great stuff in the Eastern Orthodox tradition that like maybe we should practice in our American churches, and you know, vice versa with Catholicism. And so anyway, all that to say, I think it's exciting for Christianity in terms of a global sense of coming to this more whole place where we're not being so, you know, dichotomizing with like, oh no, you're a Catholic, so you do that, and that's why you have the ash on your forehead. And I mean, what the story, Dave, that you were talking about, like keeping at arm's length, that's my dad has told me exactly some of the similar stories with him growing up in his denomination, like of just the categories of no, we don't do that because that's a Lutheran thing or that's a Catholic thing, as if like 100% holistically it would be wrong, you know, like any of those things are wrong or right. Anyway, I'm just excited for, I don't want to use the word syncretism because like too many people have negative connotations with that word, but just some of the colliding, I think, of the Christian cultures, and to maybe make something new and better for like this coming age of Christianity.
You know, I actually had to, because I wasn't sure how deep you guys go in this stuff. I'm like, I didn't want to look like the ignorant one, so I actually did some. I had to do some real history and saying, okay, so where did this start? Where did it continue with the Catholic Church, and where did it stop with the rest of us, right? And just hearing some words from John Calvin, where he's the one who back in the 1600s, who literally said, you know what, this is not, where's this biblical, where's this in the scriptures? And saying, hey, there's a lot of ritual here, and then walking away from that in the 1600s. And so that was eye-opening to me, to just the history, like you just said, to point back to. And how did we now come back to where we are at today? We're more Protestant churches than ever. And I've recognized over the last probably 15 years, maybe even 20 years, other Protestant churches in our community started at least talking about, well, I'm giving up this for Lent. I'm giving up pop. I'm giving up candy bars or sugar. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Where's this all coming from?
Well, and yeah, there's been a trend specifically with like folks my age-ish from when we graduated college in the, you know, the first decade of the 20th century or 21st century, sorry, forward of really wanting that more high church
Right.
sort of feel, the liturgy, the creeds, singing hymns, the assumed depth that comes with that, which is there but also can't be, you know. Like I was at my grandma's funeral, and she was very Catholic, and everyone was just reciting these things for the 10,000th time, you know. But at the same time, there is, to Dave's point earlier, and to lots of the conversations that you and I and the staff have had about the value of the church calendar and the cadence that it provides and the link to history that there is, and all of that. I think there are pros and cons to you know, denominational traditions in certain senses, but the concept of liturgy works across centuries and millennia because the focus is on constantly going back to scripture and embracing the historical connection we have, not just with the people that we're worshiping with in the same building or in the same country, but the people that have worshiped the same God for 2,000 years and beyond. So there's definitely an appeal there, and I can, you know, it's a trend that has, you know, been weaving its way through Protestantism for the last, you know, 20 years almost, on a more popular scale, I would say. But all good stuff. Should we talk about Easter for a second, fellas? Sure. Dave, what's your favorite color Easter egg? I don't know. I feel like I need to lighten the mood. We said lots of fancy words.
Like we're I was like mixing Dying Mind and Green and Blue together.
There you go.
Teal.
Speaking of syncretism, jeez.
So, do you guys have any like
Purple.
purple?
Oh, yeah, purple.
Okay. Periwinkle or lavender or just
Lavender.
Okay,
Yes.
there we go. Very
most
good.
definitely.
Just any Easter traditions that you guys had either growing up or stuff that you've initiated with your families now? Because like I know Christmas, right? Everyone decorates their house, and you've got like office Christmas parties and church Christmas parties, but like Easter seems to be a little more contained to like a lunch or a dinner. So I'm just curious, like what your experience has been with Easter as a holiday, be it tradition or at church or anything like that.
So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. So by the time Easter would roll around, it was already getting a little warmer. But I do have some distinct memories, and this was more of a Thanksgiving thing, but of playing family football together, like in our backyard, because it was so nice outside. And this doesn't even have any connection to spirituality or actual Easter or anything, but it just was something as a kid. And I was like, oh yeah, we go to church, on Easter, and then we play football in the backyard. So that was kind of the only thing that comes to my mind.
For me, it's actually not a family tradition. It was something that we observed when the couple of years that we were missionaries over in Greece, and just watching how other cultures and other people groups celebrate holidays, and especially, as you said, Easter's your favorite holiday, Cam, and many countries and many different nationalities or people groups literally celebrate holidays much different than we do here in the United States. And I remembered Easter, or actually I remember even how Friday isn't a big Good Friday service is a big service in the Orthodox Church, but then Sunday, the celebration at church with the banners and the flags and just how people would worship and the teaching. But then afterward, the festivity of someone's been roasting a lamb like for 10 hours on this monster spigot, and families are gathering together, bring all sorts of food and fellowship together. That's whenever I think of Easter, I think of Greece.
So are we doing that this year?
I would love to. Doesn't that sound good?
I could go for some gyros, some fresh. Oh, how do you say the sauce?
Tzatziki sauce?
Yeah, there you go. See, I never say it right. But
Nope. No,
but
I
it's
don't think anyone
delicious.
in
But it's
Kansas says it right.
Dave, what about you, man?
It's like you said, mostly it's brunch with the in-laws kind of thing. Definitely have gone to church. One of the things that I'm just reminded of is while didn't have a lot of the liturgy and all this in my past, we were a part of a church in Minneapolis where we did a Seder meal on the Last Supper, and that was a pretty cool experience. And I know we don't have time to go into all of it, but it's a memory that I have of just a unique experience around the Easter holiday. And
Yeah, I can safely say I've never played football in the backyard on Easter. I've never had fresh lamb off of a spigot on Easter, and I've never had a Seder meal. So this is great. We've all had very, very different experiences around Easter.
I do remember. I was not raised in a Christian home, and one thing that my dad always made us do on Good Friday for about 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock to like 1 o'clock in the afternoon for a couple hours, he made us do like quiet time and no music, no TV on, no playing. And it was always interesting to me. He was raised with a little bit of a Lutheran background, but even in his non-faith, he felt something needed to be done on a day like that. But that's one of the only things I remember about him recognizing or acknowledging any kind of faith component to his life.
Well, and of course he's Lutheran, or grew up Lutheran, being from Germany, right? Yeah. I think for me, growing up, my mom would make us all matching outfits, and we'd walk over to Grandma and Grandpa's house because they lived around the corner, the Easter egg hunt, which was always very confusing because, guys, I don't know if you know this, but rabbits don't lay eggs, so why is this creepy bunny handing out? It's very weird. Anyways, but I think like for me, I guess I just wish that growing up for me that Easter had more of a runway like Christmas does. Like, Halloween happens and then there's Christmas music for 2 months and lights and parties and this. And I guess that's what Lent is, right? And maybe it's because, I don't know, Christmas is about a cute baby and, buying ourselves nice things. But so I guess maybe I've been missing that lead up to Easter in my life because I haven't ever really done Lent, had never been taught what it was, the purpose of it, why it existed, that sort of stuff. So I'm excited this year for Easter more so than usual, because of the focus that we're placing on Lent this year as a me as an individual, but also as a staff and then as a body of believers. And I'm just excited for what Easter's going to look like this year because of the dedication to the Lenten season as a church. I think it's going to be really exciting. I am bummed though my mom's not making my outfit this year. She doesn't do that anymore. Apparently I have to buy my own clothes. Bummer. Anyways, gentlemen, we made it through episode 200. Huzzah.
Yay.
The rookies did great. You guys are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so just Ken and Shay, thanks for being here. Thanks for giving us your time and your thoughts. And for those of you on the listening end of this episode, you can find the show notes at supermegacorp.net/masterclass/200. Or if you're listening on your phone in a podcast app, the notes are going to be there. Swipe around. You're smart. You can find them. I have faith in you. And until next time, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.